Welcome back to Flexbone 101. Today we are talking about the inside veer, also known as the triple option, which is one of the bread and butter plays in the Flexbone offense. Now, I don't pretend to be an expert 100% on the triple option, and I'm sure many of you out there who are coaches have probably run it longer than I've been alive, but this video is meant to serve as an introduction for people who want to learn a little bit more than the basics. We'll start with our base formation, sometimes called the spread formation, and what makes the triple option so interesting is that it leaves two unblocked defenders, which means we'll have more blockers at the point of attack, and if the play is run correctly, it forces those two defenders to always make a mistake to put us in the perfect position for a good play. So on every offensive play, you're going to have to identify those two reads. So the first read is going to be called the handoff key, or number 1. And that's going to be the first defensive lineman outside the B gap. He could be in a 4-eye, he could be in a 4, he could be in a 5 technique. It's just the first defensive lineman outside the B gap. And the second read is called the pitch key, or number 2. And that's going to be the next outside defender. So it's imperative on every play to make sure everyone on the offense knows who those two reads are. So now we'll move into the first phase of the triple option, which is the dive phase. So of course every play is going to start with the tail motion, and the quarterback is going to hand off the ball to the running back 100% of the time, unless that first key attempts to tackle the running back. So 100% of the time he's going to hand it off unless that defensive lineman turns his shoulders and attempts to tackle the running back. And if that's the case, the quarterback is going to pull the ball and will move into the keep phase of the triple option. So you'll see our tailback is still moving in his option route, and the quarterback is going to keep the ball 100% of the time unless the pitch key turns his shoulders and attempts to tackle the quarterback. If that's the case, the quarterback is then going to pitch to the wingback, and he's going to be off to the races. So, that being said, we have to figure out how to block it up front. So, against a standard 4-4 or a 4-2-5, whatever you want to call it, we'll bring it up. We have our two keys highlighted. We have our tail motion. So, you'll see we have our play side tackle blocking down. And you see our A back is going to the outside in what's called an arc block, given the direction that he's heading, therefore completely avoiding the two keys. The rest of the offensive line is going to step play side, almost in a zone scheme, to keep their heads forward and move up to the second level if possible. And our wide receivers are going to block. Next, if we go to an odd front, we'll bring up a 3-4, again with our two keys highlighted. A little bit different this time, I have the play side tackle drawn up going to the outside to the free safety. Given what that dive read wants to do, whether go inside or outside, you could have your tackle go inside as well. You want the path of least resistance so that the quarterback can make that read clean. And then we also have the A back on his arc block to the outside. And similarly, we have our guard is able to go straight to the linebacker, and the rest of our offensive line all steps play side and moves forward with the ball. So now we're going to look at what each one of these phases looks like during a real game. So we have our dive phase. We need to highlight our first and second read. We have our backfield action. Our offensive tackle is going to block down, and our right A-back is going to arc block. What you'll see here is the number 1 read jams at the line of scrimmage, triggering the quarterback for a give read.
Initial drive when Georgia scored.
Thank you very much, Paul. Marcus Marshall playing against his older brother, Keith.
Now we'll move on to the keep phase. So to the other side, we need to identify our first and second reads. We'll bring up the backfield action. You'll see the offensive tackle gets an outside release. Our left A-back is going to arc block to the outside. And what you'll see is the number 2 read is going to penetrate too far upfield, causing the quarterback to keep it and cut it upfield.
Territory for Paul Johnson's team. Let's see what happens. Thomas, and he will have the first down. We'll need the...
So lastly, that brings us to the pitch phase. So let's bring up our first and second keys. We'll bring up our backfield action. I'll tell you that the offensive tackle blocks down, and we get something a little bit different in the outside blocking on this play. Our top wide receiver is going to fire off the ball and cut inside to meet the free safety, and our right A-back is going to act like he's arc blocking and then going to meet the cornerback to the outside. This is called a switch block, and it makes a nice little crease for the pitch back to get through, as you'll see.
Georgia Tech, the defending champion, now just 1-6, but they did beat Florida State. Here's a big run around the corner, and Lynch, with a lot of room, takes it into...
So those are the basics of the inside veer, otherwise known as the triple option. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them in the comments below, and be on the lookout for more videos coming soon.